Welcome. In this video, I'm going to start on the left menu where we're going to actually do our PHP. In this video, I'm going to talk about how to insert the record from the database. It's really a lot easier than it sounds, and I will show you step by step how to do it. So I have over here the home, news, contact, about that came with the template. So what we're going to do is we're going to change this to insert. And this is going to be where we insert a record. And I like to make changes and then check them in code view just to make sure I'm not deleting a tag. So now we have our menu on the left that says insert. And we're actually going to insert a record. So the very first thing we're going to do is create our insert page from the database, or rather from the template. So I'm going to click on New, and I'm going to click on Project Easy, but notice that it does not have anything over here that says Insert. What that means is we have not saved it. So let's save it first, and we're going to update everything that's here. Now I've already created the insert and the email and the display pages. So we're going to go through the motions. Then I will actually show you the code that I use in there. So now we have the insert. We can now click on New. And now you can click on, see it says Insert over here. We're going to create, attempt to create. And now we have a new file over here. So this one actually is going to be our insert form. So you're going to get information from the user as to what to put in. So if you recall correctly from the training that we did last night, we created a database that had all of these fields: last name, first name, position, throws, and plays and bats in here. Now the name of the database is IT338, and the actual name of the table is play. So let's open up our Heidi. And let's take a look at it real quick. And let me log in. And click on open. And you can see we have our players, and here's all the fields over here. All I did was take a screenshot of that. So let me close that for right now because we don't need it. And I'll put this over here. So this is where you're going to actually create your form. So what you need to do is physically create the form from in here. So we're going to save this over here. Now remember, I'm working in design, so this over here actually is kind of nothing. So this is where the form's actually going to go in. So I'm going to go and delete all this stuff here. And you can delete that in the template as well if you want. So I'm just going to delete this here so we have something to work with. And I'm going to go to Insert and Form. And now we have just a blank form. So I'm going to use an ID as maybe Insert Players. And the reason why I'm doing that, in case I want to make a separate CSS rule for something in this form, I'm going to be having other forms, so why mess with it? All right, so actually we have absolutely nothing in here. So the first thing we need to do is get our fields in here. So again, we go to Form, and we want a text field. And it puts in what it thinks you want. This is the very important part over here. You must name this field here that makes sense to here. Now, you don't need to worry about play last name, play first name, position, throws and bat, but these are the information that you need to get. So I'm just going to call this last name. And I'm going to click on required here. That forces the user to put something in here. And then you can put in size and any other stuff. You really don't need to worry too much about that for right now. So now we have a way to get in here, but the issue is we have this text field over here, and we kind of don't want that to say text field. So I'm going to change that to last name. And let's go look at the code. You're going to see something that says label 4. And as soon as I find it, okay, so label for last name, and that says last name. No, whatever I put in here is going to physically show up in the form, which is last name. Then I need another form, so I'm going to hit the enter key, and another text field. So we're going to go to insert, and I'm going to hit form, going to hit text again, and of course it does text field in there. That's the standard in here. So we're going to change this name. Now don't confuse this text field with the name with this over here. This is going to be the actual name of the database field in here, or the form text field. So we're going to do first name. And then I'm going to change this over here to first name. That takes care of that field. Then we need a position. So again, I'm going to insert another text field. And this one I'm going to call position. Change it to position. Now, I'm not doing any formatting of it at all. I just want to get this down so you understand it. You can go back and format it nicely. So we have position, and yes, I spelled position wrong. So now we have something. Let's look at the other two fields. It's throws and bats. So we have just these two fields over here. So what I'm going to do here is do it two different ways. So first thing I'm going to do is insert a new field, and I'm going to do a text field. And we'll just call this throws. Well, the problem with that, and we can change the size to something small. The problem with that is in the form, they could put throws like a girl. We're looking for either left, right, and that's it, because you either throw with your left hand, you throw with your right hand. You also have bats, which is left-handed, right-handed, or switch. So we have throws and then bats. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to change this. I'll leave this for right now, and I'll do it the other way. So I'm going to click on Insert, and I'm going to click on Form, and I'm going to choose Select. And we'll call this Throws, and needs to be required. So now what we need to do is put some values in here. So there's only going to be two values. It's going to be left, and the value here will be L, or you can put whatever you want in here, and it will add more, and right, and R. Because you don't really need more than an L and R in the database field. We're going to click on that, and we're done. And so we'll just put throws here. And that way, they can only select one of the two. And then we'll do bats. So we're going to insert another form field. We're going to use select. There are other ways to do it. We'll just make it simple. We'll just use the select. This is going to be bats. And now we need to do the values. First one is going to be left, and value L, and then right, and R, and one more, switch, or both. Usually they call it a switch hitter. And we'll put S here. And that takes care of that. Then we need a submit button. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So what we need to do is go back to each one of these things and make sure we have required checked. That takes care of that over here. And we can delete all this nonsense over here. And boom. So we have last name, first name, position. We can get rid of this. Throws, and we need to change this to bats. So what I'm going to do now is, because I have the form already created, I'm going to copy this form that I just did into the actual page that I did called insert or form insert. That way we don't have to recreate everything. So I'm going to go into the code here, and you're not going to be doing this because you're going to have it done. So I'm just going to click on form, and I'm going to copy it. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up the one that I did in the live video last night, and I'm just going to paste that over here. So you'll see that in a second. So I have an insert form already done, and you can see what we have in here. So we have label for first name, label for last name, for position, for name, bats in here, throws in here, and boom. So then we have the select over here. We did both things over here, label for bats. So we did extra things over here that we really don't need to worry about, but you can see that it's really very easy what to do. Let's look at this over here, and you can see we have this. Now, I put this in here just to show you as an alternative that if you had positions, you could make it where they do multiple positions, but that would cause an issue in the database. I did that strictly for demonstration purposes only. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go back to my code here. I'm going to copy it. Then I'm going to go back to my actual form in here and paste it. And let's put it here. We put it inside a div, so that would be, so I'm going to click on the actual form itself. That's the easy way to get everything that you want highlighted. So you can see we did that. I'm going to click on Control V, and let's just make sure that we have a form. Okay, we have form, insert players, blah, blah, blah. Let's go in here and take a look at what we have. So here we have it, what we put here. So that's the easiest way to do it. I just wanted to make sure that you were comfortable with this. We do not need this text field. So I'm going to get rid of this. You could, if you want, leave it in your website. But just remember, you want to make sure that nobody can do anything that you don't want them to do. So let's go back into design so we have it. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take the project file, the template itself, and we have insert, and we're going to link to that. Now, make sure that you click on this A here, because it does not always take when you insert a link to it. So let's do it here. We're going to browse to the file, and I put everything in PHP. So what I want to do is choose insert form, which is right here. And that takes care of that. Going to update my form. And boom. So that takes care of that. Let's go into the actual process insert, which is here. And so it's really a very simple form. I'm going to actually post this up here for you to download and take a look at in a PDF form. I want you to physically change it and put in whatever you're going to do. So let's just take a look at this in here. So the way I created this was just go into File and New. This time I use New Document, which is PHP. Clicked on Create, and it gave me this. Then I put my PHP code in here. So let's get rid of this. We don't need it. And you can see it created all this stuff in the body is my PHP. You always start with the less than sign, a question mark, PHP, and down over here. And these are your variables. Server name equals localhost, or you can put 127.0.0.1. Localhost is just fine. The username, and then you fill in whatever your username is. More than likely, it's going to be brute. Then you're going to put in password, and you fill in whatever your password is. And then database, and you fill in whatever you named your database. I'm guessing it's going to be IT438. So then we have a connection screen. So basically, we're setting a variable, and then we're telling it to connect to the database. And it's going to fill in whatever is in here at these variables over here. Then it's going to check the connection. The exclamation point means basically it's saying if it didn't connect, and die will crash this program over here. Otherwise, it's going to echo connected successfully. And then you're going to put in whatever you want to put in here. Doesn't really matter, but obviously, just make sure you put in a $sign ahead of each one. Then the $_post says, okay, get whatever was passed in this form, which we're going to go back to in a minute. And make sure that you have last name, first name, position, batch, those, or whatever it has to be exactly what's in the form name. So let's start with the last name. So we're going to go into the insert form. And the name equals last name. So if this was something different, last name, say last name 2 or whatever you named it, you would have to change it. So we have last name, first name, position, throws, and bats in here. So make sure, again, now I have a capital B, and let's make everything lowercase so there's no issues with anything. So you can see the name bats, the name throws, the name position, first name and last name. We go into the process. This actually gets everything in here. And then this is the command to actually put it in the database. So you're going to put here whatever columns that you put in your database. These are the ones that I put in here. So you're going to do insert into the name of your database. Then you're going to put players. You're going to put the field names for the database table itself. Then you're going to put values, and then you're going to put these up here, L name, F name, or whatever you call them. And then it will automatically insert the record for you, and this is going to close the database. So let's now go back to the form itself. What we need to do is we need to make sure our form is going to do everything that we want. Well, the first problem is we don't have a submit button, so it's not going to do anything. So we need to insert form. We need to go submit button. And that will submit it automatically for us. Then what we need to do up in the form itself, we need to make sure the form is going to actually process it. So for the action, you're going to go to the page that's going to process it. Notice it's going to be a PHP page. So we need to put in process insert, click on OK. Make sure this method here is post. When you open up something new, it's going to say default probably. Make sure it's post in there. And as long as we do that, we're in good shape. Then I'm going to save it. So once I physically run this file, it's going to make you put in. So let's see what happens if we try to run it. So we're going to put in first name. We'll just put Jones, Adam, position, we'll put picture, rows and lefts, and let's click on submit. And it's not going to work because we obviously don't have a database to connect to, but boom. So you have in here, So that's the issue because you don't have anything to connect to. So that's not a problem. You're going to get that. But we know now that it actually works. So that's all there is to it for the insert. So I will have a separate video for the email and a separate video for the display. The display will be the easiest one of all because you won't need a form. The email, you're going to need a form that's going to put in some fields in here, and then you're going to actually send it through the mail function, but you're not going to actually connect to the database. So that's everything for this video. Hope to have a good day.